So, all right, you're going to write linear equations for word problems today. We're going to do a little reading and writing today. Notice these 3 assignments are due. We're going to go in the grade book soon. Make sure you do those, okay? Make sure no headphones, please. All right, now, you have a quiz next Friday too, by the way. So using your Chromebook, you want to find the line of best fit, right, using a linear regression. Okay? So what do we want to do? We want to take this over to Desmos. All right, so once you go to Desmos through the Launchpad, you should be able to put in a table. We learned this yesterday, so how do I get a table? What do I press? Plus sign, table, and I'm going to start typing in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the right side, -6, -4, -2. Now you notice that it pops up on the graph. You can actually see all the points, right? So what do we do now? We go to the next input down here, and what do I type? Do I type y equals mx plus b? Does that work? No. What do I got to change, or what do I got to add? So instead of y, it's y1, and x is going to be x1. What about the equal sign? Yeah, it's the tilde, the squiggle. Okay, and that gives me a linear regression, the line of best fit. Now remember, we have the equation here. We're given m and b. Remember, r if e equals 1, that's an accurate line of best fit. And then m is 2, b is -6. Whoa. So y equals 2x minus 6. Right? Does everyone understand how I got that? Because on my Desmos, m is 2, b is -6, so that's 2x minus 6. Cool. Alrighty. Here is your notes for today. Now, we're going to take word problems and we're going to get an equation out of it. But first, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. Oh, who is that, you ask? Well, first let me ask you this. It's October. What happens in October?
Halloween.
Halloween? Oh. Well, I'm going to introduce you to my friend, Brady the Math Cat.
Yeah.
The cat that's great with rates. Here we go. All right, is everyone watching? Here we go.
It's Brady, that cat who's great with rates. Meow. Which is this fish cost? Fish? The fish costs $3 per pound. That's $6 for every 2 pounds. Thanks, Rita.
Turn off the shower, you're wasting water.
Okay. That's right. Water flows through that shower head at 3 gallons per minute. You've been showering for 10 minutes. That's 30 gallons of water down the drain. Get out of the shower. You're eating 1 apple per person. 5 apples, 5 people. $10 per lawn mower. And 5 lawns in the neighborhood. That's $50. 4 commercials per commercial break. Yeah, half a gallon of milk per week. That's 1 gallon of milk every 2 weeks. 2 hours of gameplay per day. That's 14 hours per week. Only 3 windows cleaned per hour?
Oh man, we still have 100 miles to go.
We'll get there soon. I'm driving 50.
You're not going 50. You're going 50 miles per hour. That means you'll go 100 miles in 2 hours.
Is that your cat?
It's Rady, the math cat.
Ooh. 1 mile marker per left.
We have 2 hours in the car with him.
Maybe I'll kick it up to 70.
Meow.
It's Rady, that cat who's great with rates.
What sound does the cat make? Purr. Right? Am I right? Okay, so check it out. So check out Rady the math cat. He's really a hairy arm. Is there a man at the end of the hairy arm, or is it just floating in space? Nobody knows. Just don't let Rady haunt your dreams and nightmares. Meow. All right, well, for realsies, let's talk about these notes. We're going to use a little bit of Rady to help us navigate these notes. Just remember that word. Purr. Okay, there we go. Now, does everybody know slope-intercept form? Right? We know y equals mx plus b. That's old news, 2 weeks ago, right? Okay, so when we know y equals mx plus b, we can read a word problem. You can actually read it. Remember, on the EOC, actually read it. Okay? And you're going to look for some common clue words. Now, for mx plus b, the m is going to be the slope, obviously. But other words that can help you, rate of change. That means it's the slope. Make sure you're looking over here. Heads up. Everybody, look, look, look. Now, I want you to circle this. Changing value. Okay, it's a rate of change. Rate, get it? Rate of change. Or changing value. Circle changing value, please. Because you got to know that the changing amount is the slope, the m. Okay? So, what are some words for change? Well, it could be right? Another changing word is each, and I want you to write this down. Another changing word is every, okay? So per, each, every, those are changing words. If it looks like it's a changing amount, that's the m, the slope. Now b is the starting point, the starting amount. It's the fee, it's an initial value, or it's the non-changing amount. It's not changing. Very important. So when you have numbers in your word problems, the number that isn't a changing thing, that's your B, your y-intercept, okay? Now, here's the deal. When you talk about numbers in a word problem, they don't tell you the negative sign, okay? You gotta look for negative words, right? So for example, if I say, I'm gonna give you $5, is that adding or subtracting? Adding. If I say you owe me $5, well, that's subtracting out of your wallet. Do you see how I didn't use a negative sign, but the words I say can mean positive or they can mean negative. So look at this. Increasing, gaining, ascending, profits, more. Okay, all these can mean positive, right? But what about negative? Well, for negative, decreasing, losing, descending, deficit, less, okay? Minus, any negative word can be a negative sign. So the most common error is people forget negative signs because they don't see the word or they rush through it. So we're going to do some examples together following these 3 steps. Look, Step 1, find the rate. Find the rate. You're going to look for a changing word like per. So look for a changing value. That's your slope. I'd put an M next to it. Okay. Then I'm going to find the number that is the non-changing amount. It's the initial value. It's where it starts or begins or initial value. That's going to be my B value. Once you know which number is M and which number is B, you just write it as Y equals MX plus B. Okay? So let's go ahead and try example 1. Ready? Everyone's looking, right? So when you see a word problem like this, right, you don't want to be asleep. You want to read it. Please promise me you'll at least read it. Okay? Let's do that. Printer ink costs $18.99. What? Say it. Per cartridge. Ah, but you gotta do the puppet. Per. All right. So go ahead and underline per, because you know from our little video from Rady, the math cat, that per is changing. That's a rate. That means it's M. Put an M next to that changing word. M. All right. Keep reading. Right? Look over here. The company that sells the ink cartridges charges a flat rate. Now, do y'all know what a flat rate is? Sometimes you'll get this when you, what do you call it? Ships things. Shipping at a flat rate. It doesn't depend on the weight. It doesn't depend on the location. It's just a flat one-time fee. So everybody, flat rate is the opposite of like a subscription. You know, subscriptions happen every month, right? But a flat rate happens one time, and that's $7.95. So if it's a flat fee, those are both key words. That means it happens once. That's my y-intercept B value. It's not changing. It's one time. All right, it says no matter the number of cartridges purchased in a single order. Write a linear function that models the total cost T for a single order of cartridges. Since we have a function according to the letter T, we're going to write f of T equals, instead of f of x, because it tells us T is our letter, right? Okay, now what do? We need to write it as mx plus b. So what did I label? What's my m? What's my changing per? 18.99. That's my m. Put x plus b. And we said the b fee, the initial flat rate, is $7.95. That's it. You can write it down there if you want to. There's really not much else to write here. You could have written like m equals $18.99 and b equals $7.95. You can, you don't have to, but as long as you know which one's changing, which one is not changing, you can just write the equation. Cool. Okay, now let's go to example 2. Flip it over. 2 more examples to show, and then I'm going to let you try some on your own. Anyone still need this example? Okay, example 2. Oh no, a bunch of words. What are we going to do? Read it. Let's read it. At a restaurant, jars of tomato sauce are stored in boxes in the pantry. Okay. Ready? Everyone's looking? Look, look, look. All right. Each box, or you can look at your paper, that's fine. Each box contains 8 jars of tomato sauce. A cook uses 2 jars from one of the boxes. Now look, there's 2 numbers here. There's the 8 jars, and then there's the 2 jars. Do you see a changing word? Because I didn't see per, but there's a different changing word. What's the changing word here? It's on your little list here, under M. Say it louder, I cannot hear it. Each? Yes, it is each. Everybody, per can also be each or every. So each, circle it. That is a changing word. Each contains what? 8. Okay? So that means my boxes, which by the way, boxes is X, that's my M, because each is a changing word. Changing is a rate. Rate of change is slope. Slope is M. Okay, and then it says, now, don't get tricked here. What does it say? A cook uses 2 jars. So when you use something, are you adding or taking away? When you use, like, is he putting 2 into the box or is he taking 2 out of the box when he uses it? Takes it out, right? If I use sauce, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take it out, open it up, and cook with it, right? So he's taking away. So is that positive or negative? If you're taking it away, it's negative. So using is taking away is negative. Okay, so I want you to notice, use, underline use, that means it's a -2. That's my B value. Okay, so that happens once. That doesn't change. You just take away 2, but the changing amount, each box was 8. So let's write our equation as a y equals. So y equals, what's my M? 8x, and then my b, since we use 2, -2. Okay, that's it. So you got to look for words and ask yourself, are we adding or are we taking away? You got to know. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to try number 3, and then we'll go see if you got it right. Okay, so everybody read number 3, give it your best shot, and then we'll go over it in 2 minutes. Go. All right. Here we go. Example 3. Researchers, everybody, we're reading. Researchers in Antarctica discovered a warm sea current under a glacier that is causing the glacier to melt. The ice shelf of the glacier had a thickness of approximately 450 meters when it was first discovered. Now let's stop there. 450. Were there any changing words in there, or was that the initial amount? What do you think? That's the original amount, right? It says it had the thickness when it was discovered. That happened once. You discover it once. That's the original. This has to be the letter B. It's not 450 per, right? There's no per or each or every, right? What does it say next? Keep reading. The thickness of the ice shelf is what? What is this? Decreasing. Does everyone see that word? Does that mean it's changing? Decreasing. At an average rate of 0.6, say it, per day. Okay, so this is a changing word, so this is my M. Now, it tells us to write it as a T of X. So I'm going to write T of X. Now look, I'm going to write this, and let's see if it's right. My M was 0.6 X, and my B was 450. Now I'm going to tell you, this is wrong. Why is this wrong? Okay, what should I change? You're close, but no. So the 450 is positive, right? It starts at a positive 450 thickness. Okay. So where should that be? This is positive. We don't switch them. They're in the right spot. This is a plus sign.
Negative 0.
Ah, negative 0.6. Why is that one negative? Decreasing. There's a key word, right? Isn't decreasing a negative? It's going down. It's going down. All right, so put a negative there. It's going down. All right, everybody, make sure you write it with a negative 0.6. Okay, I'm done talking. You get the idea. M is changing. B is not changing. Please be careful about negative answers. Make sure you turn in yesterday's assignment. If not, you want to make sure you get that done. Turn it in. You got today's assignment. You can knock it out. Turn it in. Let's get that done. And don't forget about Rady.
Radius cap.
Rady the math cat.